everyone, it's Shamila Ramjuan from Johannesburg, South Africa. It's the Red Corner Show's first birthday, as well as Women's Month in South Africa. I am celebrating this Women's Month with 31 inspirational women from across the globe. Today, my guest on the show is Dr. Esha Mansingh from South Africa. Dr. Esha Mansingh is the first and only woman and youngest member of the Executive Committee of the JSE-listed Imperial Logistics. She's also a woman empowerment advocate, a TV presenter, serves on the board of numerous NPOs, and is a mom and wife. Dr. Esha is the chairman of the initiated Imperial's first Global Women's Forum. She leads corporate social investment initiatives across Africa aimed at developing communities, women, and promoting road safety, primary health care, and education. Dr. Esha serves as a trustee of the Imperial and Motus Community Trust, which provides over 50 libraries to schools in disadvantaged communities, impacting over 50,000 learners. She serves as a non-executive director of Unjani Clinics NPC, offering primary health care. Hello, Dr. Esha Mansingh, how are you doing?
Hello, Dr. Shamila, and happy Women's Month to you and to everyone listening in. 31 interviews, that's very impressive. That means 31 outfits, but no, well done. I mean, I've been watching some of the ladies, the amazing ladies you featured so far, and the inspiration, that they bring through the platform that you create has just been phenomenal. So well done to you too.
Thank you, and congratulations on everything that you've achieved. We're going to go into it a bit later on in the chat, but for now, please tell me who is this vibrant, dynamic, professional Dr. Esha Mansingh, and what defines you?
Yeah, thanks. And that's an interesting one because, as you're trying to move through life, you just, want to get through things and you never really take the time to reflect. So for many people that are probably listening in, you probably know, the corporate Esha or the woman empowerment Esha or the Esha that's involved in communities. But, if you get down to the core of who I am, I'm just typically the girl next door. I am an extremely proud mom, wife, and daughter, and that's my primary focus in life is my family, a big family person. I really enjoy doing things that I'm passionate about. So, that extends to the work that I do, to my corporate job. I'm one of those individuals that invest all my time and my effort into things I really love. So I never really see it as a job or, making an effort to go out and help other people. It's just things that come naturally to me. I used to love traveling when we could. I've created many memories of travel, both from a work perspective, but together with my young family. So that's been one of my passions. And I also just love spending time with the people that are nearest and dearest to me. And I think, we don't get a lot of that anymore because of COVID, unfortunately, but hopefully, things will change in future. So in a nutshell, that's the real Esha Mansingh. And I really hope that I keep it that way.
Wonderful. So you've achieved so much so far. And I mean, how old are you? 30 something? Okay, we're not going to give away your age. But some of your highlights throughout your career, if you can maybe talk me through some of them and give me reasons.
So it's been an interesting, path that I've followed. And I think, my career and my journey, if you asked me 10 years ago, is this where I thought I would be? My answer would have been absolutely no. But, my life and my career is a typical case of, a combination of being at the right place at the right time, together with a lot of hard work and dedication. And then thirdly, putting my hand up when opportunities arose, no matter how unrealistic I thought they were at the time. And, if you go back to where it all began for me, it really started off with, the foundation that I grew up with, a family, my parents coming from a family of 4 siblings who all supported me and backed me. And even way back when, I was in a household that really supported the role of women in in a country and in a community and in an organization. So, my parents really set that firm foundation. And from there on, I naturally progressed through my studies, started off in the career in journalism, From there on, made my way into a role called investor relations, which I had no idea was at that point in time. And that's when I was first introduced to corporate South Africa and the listed company space. And, you know, and I naturally then progressed from there on, you know, heading up investor relations functions for some of the top 40 JSE listed companies, including the communication and media space. But I really think, you know, that my biggest opportunities and career milestones were presented to me when I took over my role at Imperial 6 years ago. And fundamentally when Imperial unlisted its motor business or separately unbundled its motor business. And it was just the logistics assets that remained. And it was thereon, with the change of leadership, that my role became an executive committee role. And, you know, and the rest, they say, is history. And I think for me, you know, that wasn't just a fundamental shift for Imperial in terms of changing the narrative to becoming a more inclusive environment, you know, from a typically male-dominated industry. But for me personally, it was about, you know, here's the platform, you know, and there's a lot of women who make it into positions of success, and they tend to hold on to those. And I didn't want to be one of those. And I actually wanted to use my platforms and the support that I had from leadership to progress many causes and to make sure that we also created voices and platforms for other women within the organization to be empowered and to progress. And that just naturally extended outside of our organization too. So, you know, in a nutshell, that's my career and some of my highlights.
And I would say you're quite instrumental in a lot of the initiatives and the change at Imperial, being in the executive team. But you know the saying, a company is only as good as its people. What are some of the current initiatives you are driving at Imperial?
So I think you're absolutely spot on. It is all about our people. And, you know, no single leader or team of people can drive the change that Imperial particularly has undergone in the last 2 years. So, you know, my portfolio particularly is dealing with a lot of the softer issues. And as you know, Shamila, better than I do with the great work that you do, the world is no longer just about profit. You know, a big part of what the world is aspiring to be and what our stakeholders want is also companies that are focused on being purpose-driven, that are focusing more on their people and planet, in addition to profit. You know, the profits will come. And, you know, this is why I always say that my role at Imperial, or my portfolio, is so integral to our strategy, because it focuses on, you know, the environmental, social, and governance components, which includes CSI and developing our communities, for example. It also includes the brand and the marketing component to make sure that we build a sustainable and a brand that cares, you know, more than just a brand that makes money. It also includes investor relations, which is a big part of the whole stakeholder side of things, being a listed company. And then in addition to that, you know, using my role as being a female leader in the business, as you mentioned earlier, I initiated Imperial's first Global Women's Forum, which is a network that brings together our women from across the business. You know, it's a support group. There's fantastic initiatives that are being driven by women for women with the support of our male colleagues and leaders. So let me just stress that point.
I love
and
that.
It's started to show, you know, show the dynamic of what it means to be one Imperial, you know, this business that cares about men and women, and it's about our values, and it's about caring and respecting each other. So those are just some of the initiatives that I drive internally. And, you know, a lot of our CSI and women empowerment initiatives have also been extended outside of Imperial. You mentioned the Imperial and Motus Trust and the Unjani Clinics, which have been our long-standing CSI projects. But certainly since I've taken over this role, you know, we've been very strategic about investing in women in sport, in skills and sport development, in gender-based violence, in expanding our road safety initiative to our schools, you know, to include COVID road shows. You know, and most recently, and I'm sure as people are going to see, our partnership with Princess D to give the gift of dignity to many of our, you know, of our learners and our young learners who have to skip school. And, you know, we've now found a fantastic solution. Thank you to our partnership with Princess D. So as you can see, very strategic initiatives. And many of these, you know, run across some of our African countries, not just in South Africa. And we don't stop here. You know, there's a lot more that we're going to continue to do to make an impact.
Well done to Imperial and the team. You guys are doing phenomenal work. Just take me through Unjani Clinics, because you're making quite an impact in the communities.
Correct. So Unjani Clinics NPC is, you know, is a primary healthcare initiative It's for women and communities by women. So it's an all women-owned network of nurses that have set up their own clinics and are part of the Unjani network, most of which, have been donor funded upfront. And, they serve in excess of, I think, almost close to the 9 provinces in South Africa. They are a phenomenal alternative to primary healthcare. They've made such a great impact during COVID as well. And they're in the heart of our communities. And to date, the last milestone that we hit was over 2 million patient consults. So it's really a great alternative, a very affordable alternative for primary healthcare, and it's a growing network. So, our nurses in the process are upskilled, they are entrepreneurs. After a certain period of time, they have the opportunity to have ownership of those clinics. And so as you can see, they also in the process also upskill their teams that support them within those clinics. So as you can see, it's a very sustainable model, and it's more than just an enterprise development or CSI initiative for us.
Amazing. Wow. So, Dr. Esha, you've achieved a lot of accolades.
No, thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah, look, Shamela, I'm one of these people, and, my team and my family know this well. I mean, sometimes I go home and I read an email and, I just mentioned to my husband, oh, I've just, received this email. Apparently I was nominated for this, or I need to be interviewed, and I wasn't even aware of it. So, for me, accolades are great. And I think they're kind of the outcome that people acknowledge the work you do. But that's exactly what they are for me. They're very secondary. I think for me, my commitments are really to the impact that we can make. And, you probably have heard my story before, and that's what I'm committed to. It's about impact we can make, no matter how big or how small. I always say the world is in so much need. And it's always great to be recognized. And that's just testament to the work we've done. Look, at this stage, there's a few that particularly stand out for me. I mean, you've mentioned, the Positive Role Model Award now through the Gender Mainstreaming, Business Engage, and Accenture. I've never, ever considered myself to be a role model, to be quite frank. But, it's good to be acknowledged. And I think for me, my difference will start at home. I mean, I'm a mom of 2 kids, as you know, 2 young kids. And I always say to people, and I say this to the judges of the Gender Mainstreaming Awards as well, is that if I want to be a role model, it will literally be to 2 people in this world. And those are my kids. Because, I think the role that we play as the mom is the greatest opportunity for us to empower nations of the future. Mm-hmm. And so we start at home. So, if ever I set out to be a positive role model, it was really to my kids. And I'm glad in a way that it's extended beyond that for such a recognition. So thank you for that.
I think you're a positive role model to many people out there because you're such an inspirational woman. Also, the recent book that you in, the 100 Successful Women Across the Globe, and the award that you won.
It's behind me on the wall, as you can see. The certificate's on the wall.
Yes.
I think that's that was, again, it was such an honor because they are just such phenomenal women that that you are alongside in that particular book. And to be able to share your story far and wide and hope that it inspires others. And I think, again, I think that was just an opportunity or a testament of recognition. But, I don't like to take all the credit because, when you read the stories of other inspiring women, it's just always an honor, and it's actually humbling in a way to be among them. And the world is just so full of phenomenal women. And, I'm so grateful that, there are opportunities and platforms, Red Corner Show included, to make sure that women of stature are given the opportunity to showcase themselves and to inspire others. So yes, and I do have my copy of the Amazon book. I actually got a few copies, and it was great to have Amazon delivered to South Africa. So no, it was quite an honor. Thank you.
Wonderful. Just so that you know, and just to make you aware, and the audience out there as well, the book is available now in South Africa at a local bookseller, so you can get it on Loot. Okay, you're back.
I'm back. I had to, obviously, my lights in my office light, as you
Okay, perfect. I just lost you there for a while, but it's fine. So what I said was it's now available on Loot. So people can get a copy here locally and they don't have to pay the extra courier charge and customs to get their copy.
Oh, wonderful. That's great to know.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's that's my story, and and it's really inspiring. Like I said, not just when we are recognized as individuals, but I think the one thing is I get really excited when I see other women and other youngsters in general, both male and female, really being recognized for the great work that they do. And this is why I also really enjoy listening to some of the interviews and the chats on the likes of the Red Corner Show and other such platforms, because you just feel so so overwhelmed sometimes that there's so many people out there doing such great things and really standing together to make an impact. So so well done to everyone that's featured on the show so far. I'm one of your biggest fans. I've watched the interviews, and really well done to everyone for all they've achieved.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I always tell people, if you don't want to watch it, you can listen to it as a podcast, although it's not a podcast, but you can listen to it. So what I do after I do the interviews, if I'm in the kitchen or if I'm in another room or whatever, I take my phone with me and I listen to the chats. So you don't have to watch it, because trust me, after every single interview, I listen to all of them. It's just something that I have to do, is to just listen to everybody. And I've just had so many people. Well, I must say, everybody that came on the show inspired me. Every single person. It's just so amazing. And we learn every day. We can just learn from so many different people. And there's so many changes that we can actually make in our lives.
Well, that's exactly right. And I think, it's all about the learning curve, right? I mean, just when we all, I always say that you could never know too much. And also the world is just changing every day, and the only constant is change. And it's just, so it's so enlightening when you get a different perspective, or when you see something from a different lens. And that's definitely what other people bring to the table. And I certainly found that that's been, one of my highlights in my life so far, is being able to network and being able to build, my own team, and to surround myself with highly inspiring leaders, particularly in corporate South Africa, because, you just get a different perspective. There's a different dynamic, there's a different learning curve, there's different opportunities. So absolutely, I mean, there's never an opportunity to say no to learning.
Absolutely. So we spoke about your successes. What are the non-negotiables in your life?
Non-negotiables are family time. So I do not prioritize anything over my family. I don't mean that, I spend 24/7 with my family, but whenever I am with my kids and with my husband, and when I'm visiting my parents, when I have the luxury to do so, it's all about family time, and you need to be present. So that's the one non-negotiable. The second non-negotiable is my values. My values, particularly that of integrity and respect. Those are things that I will not compromise on, no matter what. And sometimes in this world, it's difficult. It's difficult to stand your ground and to stand by who you are and what you believe in. So those are definitely non-negotiables. My spirituality is also non-negotiable for me. You have to make time, for your spirituality, whether it's religious or cultural beliefs, for example. Peace of mind is just, absolutely necessary for you to focus on. And the last thing I would say that's my non-negotiable is, to let negativity get into my circle. That's the one thing that I try very hard to prevent. It's difficult because I think we live in a world that's just, that has so many challenges and so much negativity, etc. And this is why, I keep my personal circle extremely small, and my personal spaces and my family spaces and my work spaces extremely small, to ensure that, it's always kept positive and happy, because I always believe, like the Secret, or the book, The Secret, and the law of attraction states that, the more positivity you attract, hopefully you keep it. So I think those in a nutshell are some of my non-negotiables.
I also love The Secret. That's my mantra. And I also look at the daily sayings on The Secret as well. It just helps so much, and it just deflects your mind from a lot of negativity. which is great. And it's all about putting out positive energies, because I also believe whatever you put out, divine intervention, it will come back to you and it will happen. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, I still believe in that. Just in closing, Dr. Esha, your words of inspiration, hope to the women out there, since it's Women's Month.
I've done a few of these messages so far, and every time I look back and I think back and say, well, what is it that or what advice is it that I would have wanted to be given, being the younger Esha, by a leader or somebody that I looked up to. And I'm gonna emphasize the message again, and in terms of where I started. And the message is, make an impact whenever you can, to whoever you can, no matter how big or small that impact may be. So that's the first message. The second message I want to give is, remain focused. No matter how unrealistic your goals are, I mean, nothing comes easily. You always have to put two hands up. You have to have a much louder voice. But, remain focused on your goals. But to back that, you have to work extremely hard in order to achieve whatever it is that you set your mind to, and then it will come. And then thirdly, take every opportunity that comes your way, no matter how unrealistic it may seem at the time. I always say that, if you fail at that opportunity, then great, it's a learning curve, because it's a stepping stone. But, if you excel at that opportunity, then that's even greater. So, I would always like to think that in the spur of the moment, when things don't go your way, you always feel like sometimes it's the end of the world, and it really isn't. It's only when you're looking back, 2, 3, 4 years onwards, and you reflect, that you realize, well, actually, I may not have succeeded at that, but that opportunity just taught me so much, and was a big part of my journey in terms of where I am now. So, those are the 3 key messages that I would like to leave with women, and these are the 3 things I would have liked to hear, when I was much younger.
Such a powerful message. And your last words?
My last words are, just keep shining, everyone. I think, there's been so much that we've all had to deal with, the many roles that we play. Many of us have been through personal challenges, particularly, with COVID. We may have had, loved ones impacted by COVID in some way or form. It's been challenging for our mental health. And all I can say